What's up, guys? It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I figured I would do some cutting and record it. I'm going to test the 560 ZT560 in ELMAX. I'm just going to cut until I feel it's sufficiently dull. There's no benchmark for that, and then I'm going to strop it and see what kind of results we can get from just stropping. So see how easily we can hone it back and what level we can hone it back to. Right now the edge treetop's hair, so it is certifiably ridiculously sharp. One of the sharpest edges I've ever gotten is on this knife, actually. It's just too sharp. Needs to be dulled up a little bit for your safety. No rhyme or reason to this, just cutting cardboard. I'm actually going to cut the stuff with tape on it first, hopefully, and that way we can avoid weird results by tape being stuck on the edge. So I guess I'll show the edge before I do it, just in case anything weird happened before. It's God, I forget what degree edge is on this. I think it's right around 30. I'll tell you at the end of the video. But yeah, just gonna go ahead and get to it. Cuts really well for how thick the blade is, how thick it is behind the edge, and because it's really sharp, it's gonna cut well. So. Really hoping it does good, because ELMAX did poorly in my rope cutting test, but I used ZT551 with an extremely thick edge on it, so I don't really feel like I gave it a fair shake. It was one of my earlier tests. I didn't have the method nailed down yet. I just feel like I should probably retest it, so that's one reason I'm doing this. And just because not everybody cuts rope all the time, so I want to see how it does in more realistic scenarios. I'm going to go ahead and test the sharpness after that little bit. There is some tape on the edge, so keep that in mind. Still pretty sharp. See if I can rub some of that tape off and do another little cut. Yeah, it's sustained a little bit of damage, but it's still really sharp, so we can continue. Hope this is in frame. It's a comfortable knife, I can tell you that. I do hate that I messed my edge up, but give me a good chance to see just how easy it is to touch up on the wicked edge. I'm going to cull that piece because it's covered in tape. I want to cut a piece without tape before we test the sharpness again. It does have a long blade. You get a lot of useful edge in this knife. No lock sticking. The lock's not going over further due to the pressure, so that's good. It's double thick down here. Tough to get through. Alright, so the tape should be off of the edge pretty sufficiently. Let's see what we have now. There's some dirty spots in the edge, but it's still pretty sharp. I mean, it's not doing extraordinarily well, honestly. I've done tests like this before with steels like VG10. And at this point, they're still slicing cleanly, while this isn't. I could definitely, most definitely feel some damage in the edge as well. Albeit very small, the damage is there. So let's go ahead and continue. Cut another piece without tape and then test it again. I was really hoping this would surprise me with how well it holds the edge, but as of right now, it's kind of not. But ELMAX isn't really supposed to be a super edge holder. It's mainly a super steel because it's tough. But a lot of people do claim better edge retention than S30V, which I don't know if we're seeing that here or not. I'll let you be the judge of that. I do have a test exactly like this done on S30V, even with the same cardboard. Let's test it again. A lot of people claim that I make the test biased by cutting the paper on the grain or with the grain, whatever. If you pay attention, I'm constantly flipping the paper, so I'm not cutting in one direction the whole time. There we go, there's a good cut. I mean, it's still sharp, but it's just, I don't know, it sustained some damage. But I actually say it kind of improved from the last test we did. Let's see if it'll shave arm hair. Yeah, it's actually still able to pop arm hairs off. So let's do a little bit more cutting. Cut these two pieces. For what it's worth, it's still cutting really well, so it performs well. I broke down these boxes with my M390 military hand. You couldn't even tell I'd cut anything with that knife, but granted, it's a lot less cutting than this. Alright, let's test it one more time. Got us a nice pile of cardboard here. 11 minutes left. So yeah, I mean, the edge is still sharp. It's just sustained a little bit of damage, and if you can walk the edge past the damage, it'll still slice pretty cleanly. So that's actually a little bit of an improvement. I can work with that. I like that. It's still cutting pretty well. You just can't let it get bogged down on those little pieces of damaged edge. And you can actually see them with the naked eye. Cut another little piece. Try just a regular old slice. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not. I mean, the edge is still really sharp. It's just falling into a toothy working edge. The damage isn't really significant. If you zip through it, you can see it'll still cut really well. So the edge is still sharp. I mean, really sharp. So I actually like that. I take back what I said earlier in the video. It's actually performing pretty well for what it is. A lot of times an edge at this point, when it's damaged like this, it's actually slicing really well now. So maybe I just had some glue that I had to work off. A lot of times at this point, the edges won't shave hair or anything like that, but this is still doing pretty good. It still has a pretty fine edge on it. Normally at this point it has no grab into my skin, so when I do the 3-finger test, I can't feel any grab at all. But this still has some grab. See if it'll shave hair. Yes, surprisingly it will. Scraping a lot of skin off with it, but it does still shave hair. So, surprising. Really surprising. Slice one more little piece of paper. Hey. That's doing really good. Now, since we have that benchmark, we've cut a lot of paper, it's been doing pretty consistent. Let's take a few little strops here. See what we can do. Let's see what we can do. Alright, switch to the green side. After you wipe, always wipe the blade off. You don't want to cross-contaminate. Doesn't matter going from green to white because the green is finer, but you don't want to go from a coarse compound to a fine compound and cross-contaminate. Going from fine to coarse is okay. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything. Let's see how she cuts after that. Very well. So what that tells me is that the damage was really on a microscopic level. Normally when I do this, edges aren't able to be brought back just with a stropping. The fact that this is cutting that well after just a few strops is a good sign. I mean, it's not completely clean, but it's still slicing really well. So yeah, that's a good sign for ELMAX, in my opinion. It held a fine edge for a long time, and it did not sustain that much damage. Honestly, if you go look back at my videos, most of the knives at this point are too damaged to be stropped back, and I normally have to touch it up with either a coffee mug or a ceramic rod. So this is pretty impressive, honestly. I like it. I like ELMAX. I did not like it before, but I like it now. You can still feel some of the damage even after the stropping, but it's minimal, honestly. Fairly minimal. So yeah, ELMAX does pretty well in EDC type cutting tasks. You see no deformation, no strong glints of light. You could see a little piece of damage right in here. You can see just a tiny bit of damage on the edge in this section. Honestly, not that bad though. I'm surprised that it was able to be stropped back to sharpness. A lot of knives aren't able to do that. So anyway, let me know what you think, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.